Welcome to the gardening channel, and today we are going to make soil. What is soil? It is a complex mixture of materials together. It's not just dirt, it's more than that. So we're going to make some soil, and what you see here, this is 1 cubic yard of organic compost from our local material supplier. Yeah, you might also be able to see there's also a big pile of bark on the other side of it. Now, the reason to go this method is it's a lot cheaper than buying pre-made soil from a hardware store. This is about $40 per cubic yard, which is 27 cubic feet, 3 by 3 by 3. Now, if you were to buy that at a home improvement store, that same amount, they're usually in like 1 to 3 cubic foot bags. You're probably looking on the order of $150. I can do the math. I'll put that on the screen. There'll be 2 other ingredients they're going to show in a few minutes to go into this. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to scoop a couple scoops of it just so you can see kind of like, you know, this compost will be pretty light and fluffy. This is really where most of your nutrients are coming from. You might have to also supplement with a little bit of fertilizer and start to amend it over time with your own compost. So I'm going to hold a little bit of this up. Hopefully the camera picks this up. You know, it's a real nice, dark, black, rich material. Compost. That's what you want. That's what your plants want. So give it to them. Just going to show how you mix it up. All right, got the compost I just scooped from the driveway. Brought it back here. I'm trying to move this as few times as possible. I have a bad back. So the one time getting into here, I don't want to really move it a third time to mix it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some peat moss. This is about between $10 and $15 a bale usually for this size, which is 3 cubic foot. And then vermiculite. You could also use perlite. The idea is this is very light and fluffy, and you're just adding some space in there for your tree roots, your plant roots to move through. Ideally, you kind of would do this in a third kind of mixture. My favorite part about combining this myself is then I can choose whatever mixture I want. I tend to put more like a quarter or of the perlite and peat moss and kind of see what I'm seeing, how it's developing. So I'll come in, I'll mix some in, and I'll show you kind of what it's looking like and where I'm going to stop. And I'm just trying to get something that I'm kind of used to the texture of digging around in the soil. So there's not a prescription. You just want to have, the peat moss helps with water holding capacity, and then the perlite, like I said, helps give you some airspace. Vermiculite. So if you're using this in garden beds, like we're going to be doing, you might go with a little different mixture than if you were going into, say, containers. You'd probably want to go a little, well, I'm not sure. It depends on the type of container you're using, really. If you're unfamiliar with vermiculite, it's very much, you know, almost looks like a synthetic material, but it is not. It comes out of the ground as a part of other minerals. And I'm just going to simply work it around a little bit. Sometimes it's warm like a day like today. It's a little dusty. I might squirt it with just a very small amount of mist to keep the dust down. Now I'm going to be filling a bigger bed over there, and what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to deposit a layer of the compost and then some of the peat moss and the vermiculite on top of that and work that in. So I'm not mixing in the wheelbarrow, I'm mixing in place. So I'd either want to mix it in the wheelbarrow, so I'm moving it a minimal amount of times, or mix it in the place it's going to be. This is also a mix that is often used in square foot gardening, sometimes referred to as a Mel's mix. this general idea. A lot of times it's best to use a couple different types of compost to just change what kind of microorganisms you might have. A lot of times I'll use this bulk compost from the materials center, and then also add in some different types of compost, some composted manure, that kind of stuff. Some our compost, but most of our compost has already been used up this season. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. So I did that all real time without any cuts, so you can see it doesn't really take that much time. You have something pretty nice and rich, and something that you've kind of had a hand in, and you have control over it. All right, so now this is going to go in some beds. I'm going to come back and we'll show one more time when I'm doing a little bit in place in the bed, but this is how I make the soil. This is how we grow all this stuff. Works good.